Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I just want to give my thoughts on Avowed and where my thoughts are at on the game itself. When Avowed was first announced 4 years ago, the initial tone kind of suggested like a really dark fantasy adventure set in the first person. I'm not a big fan of first person combat, but my interest was still piqued by the tone and setting. Plus it's made by Obsidian, who are known for making great RPGs, so what's not to be excited about, right? Fast forward to their first gameplay trailer, and it appears the original tone got lost in the wind along the way. Characters and creatures appear to be more cartoonish in nature, and once again the first person combat did nothing to shift the needle of interest in either direction, even with a combination of magic and hand-to-hand combat. Even during their deep dive last year at Xbox's showcase, where they gave us a little bit more insight into the world they were building, the combat and world still didn't appeal to me at all. You kind of have to commend Obsidian though, because they did take the negative feedback to heart surrounding the combat. Apparently I wasn't the only one that was kind of like deterred from seeing that, but they did rework the combat to feel more engaging and tactile, and I will be the first one to tell you that the revamp regarding combat absolutely paid off, because I believe this is the best first-person combat I've ever used in any game ever. I have extensive hours in Skyrim, but I'm gonna be honest with you, Skyrim's first-person combat, it's rough, even when I played it back then in the early 2000s. But yeah, best first-person combat ever that I've seen in any game. Attacks have such a satisfying crunch. If you couple that with the hissing from your weapon when you charge up an attack, or that small orgasm you get from getting a critical hit on an enemy, all of it just makes for incredibly engaging combat, and I find myself constantly looking forward to the next fight. Which reminds me, this is an RPG. Combat usually takes a backseat to storytelling, character progression, and dealing with the consequences of your choices. Now, The Witcher 3 is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. The combat is decent, it's definitely not the star of the show. Avowed seems to heavily focus more on the action part of action RPG. The RPG parts seem to take a backseat for the most part. As far as graphics, the game looks great. We got lush, dense forests, with bright, vibrant colors, plenty of landscapes and locations that will draw your attention. I do like that the loot has an audible sound when you're close to it, so you're encouraged to explore these new locations. Unfortunately, when you do find this hard to reach loot, it's kind of abysmal. Usually, when it comes to finding or trying to get loot in hard to reach places, there's a prospect of finding items that are better than yours, or just finding an epic or unique item. I haven't found any of that yet. I'm still searching, and I've been looking a lot. I've been trying to go through some of these side quests, but I just think the loot is terrible in this game. Maybe later on, I think maybe you need to start upgrading and crafting your own loot. Maybe that's the way the system works, but I just think the loot that you find out in the world is it's crap. But let's talk about the RPG side of Avowed. Character creation is great. There's plenty of sliders for you to create whatever monstrosity you fancy. I'm not a fan of the fungi godless look that makes you look more clicker than human, but to each his own. There is plenty of people to meet and help throughout the world, but all of them lack any distinct personality. I didn't walk away from a single conversation feeling any type of emotion or interest in what else this character has going on in their digital lives. In fact, I found myself trying to hurry through most of these conversations because once you're locked into the conversation, you are locked in. There is no option to continue the conversations later. You're locked in for whatever history lesson they have for you. And let's be honest, I love RPGs. I love getting to know characters, being immersed in the world, but my God, I don't want a lore dump every time I get in contact with somebody. I mean, learn to piecemeal this information. It's like a thread that you constantly have to tug on, that I have to prompt, not that the game forces me to. So yeah, Avowed is more action than RPG. Great first-person combat, lush, beautiful environments that encourage exploration, But unfortunately, that's not enough to keep me engaged when the RPG side is being dragged behind when it should be at the forefront. Companions don't care how rude you are to others, and there's no consequence to disagreeing with them. They're just there. You can also just steal anything that isn't nailed down with no consequences. The world doesn't seem to react to your actions at all, which is just another added layer of immersion that would have helped the game stand out a bit. All in all, it's an RPG light, and I really don't think that's what most people expected from Obsidian. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Like, subscribe, hit that bell. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.